Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the class. Today, yesterday we were discussing about the situation which was prevailing in South Africa before getting independence. And in this context, we have discussed about the apartheid law, according to which there was separation among different races of people who were living in South Africa. Everything was separate for people belonging to different races, and this arrangement was highly exploitative, and this was completely against the original people of Africa, who were blacks. And in this context, we have also discussed about the story of Hector Peterson, who was shot at by the police when he was protesting. He joined the protest against the African language, which was the medium of instruction in the school. So, and then we saw that in the year 1994, South Africa became an independent country, and when it became an independent country, uh, a new constitution was adopted by the country, and with this, uh, there started a new way of life which was completely based on the principle of equality. And the organization which was responsible for the struggle of independence in South Africa was African National Congress, and the leader was Nelson Mandela. So we have discussed all these things. Now today we will understand uh, the different keys, different key elements of democratic government. And in this regard, our first key element of democratic government is participation. Okay, participation means how people take part in the process of government. Okay, so in this regard, what we know that democracy is a government of the people. In a democratic government, people make decisions. But it's not that people directly take part in the process of decision making, because it is practically not possible, because the population is so large, area of a country is so large that it is practically not possible that all the people who are living in a country can directly take part in the process of decision making. So what how the rule of people is achieved in a democratic government? How can we say that a democracy is a rule of people when people are not participating directly, when people are not taking part directly in the process of government? Then how can we say that democracy is a rule of people? We can say this because people do not rule directly, people do not take part in the decision making process directly, but what happens that people elect their representatives through the elections. In a democracy, elections are held at fixed interval. This is one of the most important feature of democracy. In present time, we cannot think of democracy without election, because it is through the process of election that the people elect their representatives. These representatives are the leaders of the people, and these representatives are there to who form the government. The representatives of the people who are chosen by the who are elected, not chosen, who are elected by the people in the elections, these representatives form the government. So people rule through these representatives. Okay, people do not rule directly. People rule through the representatives. Okay, and these representatives take decisions on behalf of the people. Okay, and whenever the representatives take any decision, they must take decisions according to the interests of the people, according to the needs of the people, according to the demands of the people. So, in this way, democracy is a rule of people. Okay, all government are elected for fixed period. In every democratic country, all the government are elected for a fixed period. In our country, this period is 5 years. Our president is elected for 5 years. Then our members of Lok Sabha and members of legislative assemblies are elected for 5 years. Then our prime minister is also a member of parliament, and his tenure is also 5 years, though he can removed earlier also. But in our country, there is a 5 years term, and elections are held every 5 years. Sometimes we see that before the completion of the 5 year also there is election. There may be election before 5 years also. Okay, so what happens that whoever is holding a post, suppose the members of the parliament are there and the members of the legislative assemblies are there, all these people, even the prime minister, all the ministers, they all are holding the post only for a fixed period, only for 5 years. And after the completion of the 5 years, all these important people, all the MPs, all the MLAs, Prime Minister, and his ministers, all need to be re elected by the people if they want to be in power, if they want to remain in power. तो उन्हें क्या करना होगा? उन्हें री इलेक्ट होना होगा. If people will re-elect them, then only they can remain in power. If people do not re-elect them, then they will not be able to be in power. So, who has the ultimate power? किसके पास है power? द पावर इज विद द पीपल. क्योंकि अगर लोगों ने री इलेक्ट नहीं किया तो जो अभी प्राइम मिनिस्टर है वो दोबारा प्राइम मिनिस्टर शायद नहीं बन पाएंगे. अगर लोगों ने री इलेक्ट नहीं किया तो जो अभी मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट है वो सेकेंड टर्म में दोबारा वो नहीं बन पाएंगे मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट. तो ये क्या है? दिस इज द पावर ऑफ द कॉमन पीपल, है ना? And this is the reason in a democratic government what happens that all the organs of the government tries to work in the interest of the people. Whatever decisions are taken by the government, it is tried by the government that the decision must be in the interest of the most of the people. क्योंकि अगर लोगों के नीड्स के अकॉर्डिंगली गवर्नमेंट काम करेगी, देन ओनली द गवर्नमेंट कैन बी re-elected. If the government is not working according to the need of the people, if the government is not working according to the interest of the people, then there will be very, very bleak possibility of re-election of that government, re-election the of the members who have formed the present government. है ना? तो अगर उन्हें फिर से पावर में आना है, अगर वो फिर से अपने पोस्ट को बना के रखना चाहते हैं इन द नेक्स्ट टर्म ऑल्सो, तो उन्हें क्या करना होगा? उन्हें लोगों का ख्याल रखना होगा। जो भी डिसीजंस वो लेंगे, जो भी पॉलिसीज एंड प्रोग्राम्स वो अडॉप्ट करेंगे, all the policies and programs should be in accordance with the need of the people. तभी लोग उन्हें री-इलेक्ट करेंगे। तो दिस इज द process of election. This is the importance of election. Through elections, people elect their representatives, and these representatives form the government. Now we will see uh, other ways of participation. There is the most common way of the participation of people in the process of government, in the process of decision making of the government. The most common way is election. But other than election, there are other ways of participations also. Okay? Because elections are held only once in a 5 year time. In a 5 year period, there will be election for once only. So this participation is not enough. 5 साल में एक बार ही हमें इलेक्ट करने का मौका लगता है, तो ये जो पार्टिसिपेशन है बहुत कम है। और भी there is need of other ways of participation. So we will see that besides voting, there are other ways of participating in the process of government. People participate by taking an interest in the working of the government and by criticizing it when required. How can we participate in our day to day life, in our everyday life? We can participate by watching news. We can participate by reading newspaper, because if we are watching the news in the television, or if we are reading the newspaper, then it means we are aware. We want to know what the government is doing, how the government is functioning. Is the government functioning according to the need of the people, or the government is working according to its own self interest? Okay, so it's a kind of participation. If we are living in our own world, we don't have we are not at all worried about the news or the newspaper, then we are not participating. Okay, so one form of participation is that people participate by taking interest in the people participate by taking interest in the working of the government. And if the people feel that the government has not done enough function, or the government is not doing according to the need of the people, then it can criticize also. You must be watching the news on TV, when you see that there are so many leaders, so many people who criticize the government openly. So this is what? This is a type of participation. Okay. In August 2005, when a particular government increased the money people had to pay for electricity, people expressed their disapproval very sharply. They took out rallies and also organized a signature campaign. The government tried to explain and defend its decision, but finally listened to the people's opinion and withdrew the increase. The government had to change its decision because it is responsible to the people. So there is an incident. The incident is of August 2005. In August 2005, what happened when a particular government uh, increased the rate of electricity? We all use electricity, which is produced by the government and distributed by the government also. And because we are using this electricity, we have to pay some bills to the government. We have to pay some money to the government. So, in August 2005, what happened that a particular government increased the rate of electricity. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का जो रेट था उसको उन्होंने बढ़ा दिया. सपोज करो पहले 1 यूनिट के लिए लोगों को 4 रुपीज देना होता था. इट्स ऑन ओनली एन अजम्पशन. सपोज ओके. सपोज करो पहले लोगों को 1 यूनिट के लिए 4 रुपीज देना पड़ता था. अब नाउ if they are consuming more than 1 unit, if they are consuming 1 unit, then they have to pay 5 rupees. So they are paying more. है ना. तो इस तरह के चेंजेस लाए गए, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी के रेट को बढ़ा दिया गया. Now, after this increase, what happened that people became very resentful. They they did not like the decision of the government to increase the rate of electricity, and they started um, mm, protesting against this decision of the government कि ये decision जो government ने लिया है इलेक्ट्रिसिटी के रेट को बढ़ाने का, that decision is not इन फेवर ऑफ द पीपल. और लोगों ने बहुत सारी रैलीज निकाली एंड दे ऑल्सो ऑर्गेनाइज्ड अ सिग्नेचर कैंपेन. Signature campaign, you understand? Signature campaign is suppose something is done by the government and we are there to support an issue or we may be there to oppose an issue. ओके या तो हम सपोर्ट करने के लिए या अपोज करने के लिए दोनों पर्पज से सिग्नेचर कैंपेन कैन बी स्टार्टेड. इन दिस व्हाट हैपेंस पीपल पुट देयर सिग्नेचर ऑन अ पर्टिकुलर issue that they support it. In support of an issue, people put their signature, and the number of signature indicate that this number of people are supporting the cause. Or this signature campaign can also be for opposing any issue. And in this also, the issue will be written, the matter will be written, and people will put their signature. And the number of signature will show that how many people are against this issue. And in this way, there is a pressure is put on the government. If they are supporting anything, then the pressure is on the government to start doing that work, and if they are opposing anything, then the pressure will be on the government to stop doing that. So when the electricity rate was increased by the government, then people started taking out rallies and they also organized signature campaign. And the government was not ready to accept the demand of the people, and it tried to defend its decision कि why it has taken the decision to increase the rate of electricity. But people were not ready to listen to the government. And finally, what happened, that the government has to listen to the people opinion. Government has to listen to the people's opinion, and it has to withdraw the increase which was done in the electricity rate. The government, what we are saying, that the government had to change its decision. जो डिसीजन गवर्नमेंट ने लिया, उस डिसीजन को गवर्नमेंट को चेंज करना पड़ा, क्योंकि people were against this decision of the government, and they were showing their anger, they were showing their dissatisfaction by taking out rallies and by organizing signature campaign. So in this way, people participation is very important. Because of participation of people, the government was under pressure, and it has to accept the demand of the people, that it must withdraw the increase in the rate of electricity. So this is the power of the people. Okay, so by participation, we can put pressure on the government and force it to act according to the needs of the people. Here in this picture, you can see that people have expressed people have expressed their approval in some matters. Approval is there, in some matters disapproval is there. You can see uh, the first, there is a long queue of utensils, and this queue is for water, and the queue is so long that it seems that the tap is from where the water is coming. The tap is in the another village, and this queue has come to another village. So there is a scarcity of drinking water, and the government has not done enough to solve this problem. The government could have made many efforts, such as digging the well, or setting up the tube well. So the government has not done anything for the for solving the problem of water crisis. And this cartoon is depicting the disapproval of the people, how people are dissatisfied with the government. Then are some letters to the editor of a newspaper. There is editor of a newspaper, and if you have seen the newspaper, there is a column which is for this letters, which is written to the editor. So, in one of the letters, it is written, "Posters on wall spoil the city's look." Further, many times posters are pasted on important signboards and even road maps. All political parties, all political parties should arrive at a consensus on banning posters on walls. So, this letter is regarding the posters on wall. Because of these posters on wall, the look of the city becomes very bad. Not only this, many times these posters, because of these posters, we are not able to see signboards and road maps, and this causes a lot of trouble to the people. So all in the it is written by Mahesh Kapasi from New Delhi, that all political parties should arrive at a consensus on banning posters on wall. So there should not be posters should not be pasted on the wall, and for this all political parties uh, should effort in this direction. So now you can see take action. It is worrying to know that the tiger population in India is falling. Are being hunted and killed by poachers for their skins. The government has not taken the issue of poaching seriously enough. It must take action immediately, arrest the poachers, and implement the laws protecting the tiger. If this does not happen, the tiger will become an extinct animal in the next 10 years. So, this letter is about the decreasing number of tigers in India. The population of tiger is decreasing, and this is a very serious issue. But our government is not taking it seriously, and government has not done enough for the protection of the tiger. There is need of there is need to do so many things by the government. The government must arrest the poachers. Poachers means hunters. Okay, so the government must arrest the hunters, and uh, whatever laws are there for the protection of the tigers, those laws must be implemented properly. So, this letter is telling that is asking the government to take action. Okay. Now, there is another piece of news. Government must give compensation to flood victims. You must be knowing the meaning of flood. जब river overflows and it cross its bank and it reaches to the residential places, this is called flood. Okay, and government need to give compensation to flood victims, people who become victim of the flood, people who suffers because of flood need to be need to be given compensation. What is the meaning of compensation? Compensation means if a person suffers a loss because of natural calamities or any accident for which he is not responsible, then in that case what happens that the government give him some money, give him or his family some money एज अ जो लॉस हुआ उस लॉस को पूरा करने के लिए हमें सपोज अ पर्सन lost his legs in a rail accident, then what will happen, the government will give him some money as a whatever damage, whatever loss has been done to the person because of this rail accident, that damage is filled by this money. So, this is called compensation. So, there is demand of compensation for flood victims. Okay, so these all are a form of political participation. People are participating in the process of decision making. People are asking the government to take some decisions. People are asking the government to take action in order to protect the tigers, in order to protect the number of tigers in India. Then people are asking government to give compensation to flood victims. Then the problem of water crisis has been expressed through a cartoon, and in this way the focus of the government has been drawn towards this problem. So these are all forms of participation, how people can participate. So election is not the only way through which we can participate in the process of decision making. Other than election, there are various ways which we have discussed right now, through which we can participate in the decision making process of the government. So, there are many ways in which people express their views and make government understand what actions they should take. So, what are the ways through which we can express our views? We can express our views by writing in a newspaper. We can express our views by taking out rallies. We can express our views by starting a signature campaign. Okay, so all these are various ways through which we can participate in the process of decision making. And you can see here it is written, these include dharnas, rallies, strikes, signature campaigns, etc. Things that things that are unfair and things that are unfair and unjust are also brought forward. If the government is doing something unfair, something injustice, then in that case also this type of unfair and unjust activities of the government is brought forward. That is also a participation, a form of participation. Newspaper, magazines, and TV also play a role in discussing government issues and responsibilities. We are watching. You all are must be watching newspaper news on television. So through these news. Various government issues and responsibilities are discussed, and the government is put under pressure so that it should take decisions according to the requirement of the people. So, while it is true that a democracy allows people to participate, it is also true. So, we can see that these are various ways of participating, and now we will discuss the matter in the next class.